Hello, my name is Jim DeMeo, and this is A Course in Miracles. We're continuing our review of the lessons, and we're reviewing this evening Lesson 36. My holiness envelops everything I see. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. Seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, for I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. You may notice that he speaks of forgiveness as something we have done. Since God does not know of the disasters that we make, the Holy Spirit does, but the Father doesn't. And what is the Holy Spirit interested? She would be interested in helping us correct our mistakes. How do you get correction done? Well, the only one way that you're going to get any correction really accomplished is to be responsible. Guilt produces a lack of responsibility. Seeing a mistake that you have made and being responsible to correct it, there's where we want to go. The mistake we have made, of course, generally speaking, is to be separate from God and each other. Allowing the Holy Spirit to correct that mistake with us, allowing her to show us the truth about our connection with God and with one another. This is what produces this beautiful world that he's talking about in Lesson 36. And it continues. My holiness blesses the world. The perception of my holiness does not bless me alone. Everyone and everything I see in its light shares in the joy it brings me. There is nothing that is apart from this joy, because there is nothing that does not share my holiness. As I recognize my holiness, so does the holiness of the world shine forth for everyone to see. How am I going to recognize my holiness? Once again, through responsibility, by allowing the Holy Spirit to guide us, to show us the correction, and then making the correction. She won't force us to make the correction. She'll take us right there. You can lead a horse to water. That's the deal here. So when we do make the correction, then suddenly we see the holiness of everyone, including ourselves. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. Powerful statement. My holiness is unlimited in its power to heal, because it's unlimited in its power to save. What is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are illusions except false ideas about myself? Judaism had it right, seeing themselves as the holy sons and daughters of God. I think the responsibility, correct me if I'm wrong, all you who have been raised in Judaism, I think the holy responsibility of Judaism is to help all of us become good Jews, helping us to see that we're the sons and daughters of God, not particularly a religion. So, what is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are illusions except false ideas about myself? My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. In the presence of my holiness, which I share with God himself, all idols vanish, and so does our attachments, and therefore our suffering. You won't suffer if you don't have attachments. You will value everything if you don't have attachments. Valuing. My holiness is my salvation. Since my holiness saves me from all guilt, recognizing my holiness is recognizing my salvation. It is also recognizing the salvation of the world. Once I've accepted my holiness, nothing can make me afraid, because I'm unafraid. Everyone must share in my understanding, which is the gift of God to me and to the world. How does my holiness eliminate the guilt? It only eliminates the guilt because we are not separate from God. And there's nothing that we can do to make us separate from God. Yes, there's all kinds of things we can do to create the illusion that we're separate from God, separate from one another, have no worth, have no value. On it goes in the illusions we make. But what if we allow the Holy Spirit to guide us? Then we can get this all corrected, can't we? See our holiness, not run away in guilt, and pick up responsibility. And finally, I am blessed as a son of God, a good Jew, a son of God, a wonderful atheist, a son of God. Herein lies my claim to all good and only good. I am blessed as a son of God. All good things are mine because God intended them to be for me, for you. I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. Everything else that we think of as loss is just temporary. These are temporary things. I lost my car. I lost my job. These things are all temporary. Allow the Holy Spirit to take you through the grieving of your attachment to a job or a car or anything else. She brings us the love and compassion of God. I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. My Father supports me, protects me, directs me in all things. All I have to do is be willing to obey. Hello. His care for me is infinite and is with me forever. I am eternally blessed as his son. Maybe some of you recall the book, I think it was, or the saying, if you see the Buddha along the road, shoot him. Remember how confusing that once was for me. Maybe still is a little bit. But it's not religion that's going to bring us home. It's our willingness to go home. Last week we talked about getting out of prison, right? Going home doesn't mean dying. No, on the contrary, it means living and living fully. Living without guilt. Replacing guilt. Not with denial. Replacing guilt with responsibility. Responsibility feels good when you embrace it, just as it doesn't feel so good when you are irresponsible. Things get a little bit harder, don't they, when we're irresponsible? The guilt seems more real. That's why. Embrace your power, you guiltless one. We'll talk again.